Hey guys, it's Rachel. It is Thankful Thursday and you've got me as always and you've got Kel. Last week I didn't manage to get a video out. I recorded it on the Wednesday night and it didn't record, so I didn't have a chance when I was down in London, and my brother doesn't have a webcam, so what I decided to do was make this week's video and last week's video and kind of give you a bit of a double whammy. I won't be here next week as I'm going to France on Thursday, so yeah, you'll be missing next week with me. So this first video now is going to focus on what the girls were talking about last week, and it's again what Tara's put today. And she's basically asked us to pick something, anything big or small that we wouldn't normally do, and something maybe kind of spontaneous, or even just something that stretches outside of our comfort zone, and then to do the video on you know, what I did, why I did it, and why I felt it pushed my limits. What I do want to say here before I talk about that is this the recovery to me over the years, and it's only really kind of been a bit of a of recent, to be honest. Recovery, you know, yeah, okay, recovery from an eating disorder means you need to eat right, you need to, you know, gain weight, lose weight, whatever it is you need to do to be healthy, and it means dealing with all these sort of the issues that were behind it. But what for me truly represents recovery, because you can't measure recovery, you can't say, oh, recovery is a certain way, or recovery is this, or recovery is that. What for me symbolises recovery is engagement. Okay, engagement. Recovery is active, and everybody's active recovery is different, and I think that for me, the sign that a person is in recovery is if they are pushing their limits, if they are doing things they wouldn't normally do, if they're stretching outside of their comfort zone, challenging themselves. Okay, I've been in recovery, real recovery, you know, not the kind of recovery that I was doing. Well, I was trying to get better, wasn't I, when I was in hospital, but since sort of coming out of the hospital in 2004, it's been like 6 years, and for me, I probably challenge myself every day, and that isn't always normally this is what I'm going to do today. It means that I do stuff, I push myself. I don't push myself to the point of killing myself, okay, because that is self-destructive, but I do push myself, and you know, I do stuff that does give me a bit of a, you know, it does kind of freak me out a little bit, or I'll be like, oh God, I'm not strong enough to do this, and you are, and you need to keep doing that, and that's how you gain strength, and that's how you start to move forward. And that's what I mean by active recovery. It means moving, it means constant movement. And yeah, we get stuck, but then when we get stuck, we have to look at the things that we could possibly move or do to move us forward. So the example I'm going to give is, I mean, maybe it's quite a common one for people, is therapy. Okay, I'm still in therapy, I'm still in weekly therapy, I have been for like 10 years, and I work fucking hard in my therapy. That is partly why I'm as recovered as I am today. I push myself, I go when I really don't want to go, and I don't want to talk about stuff, and I, you know, Jaya helps me push myself. So what I did last week is, basically I've been having a few issues in recovery, issues in the sense that in, you know, 5 6 years of seeing Jai, if our relationship was always perfect, then there'd be kind of something wrong about that. And we have our moments, we have our kind of miscommunications and all the rest of it. And I was actually left feeling really hurt, not last week, the week before, and I was kind of like, you know, I can't cope with that, I'm struggling, and I can't cope with going to therapy. I'm not feeling supported, okay? And so my kind of instinct was to protect myself, and was to avoid seeing her, basically. And I kind of thought about it, and with the encouragement of some people and my mum and stuff, you know, I went to my therapy and I told Jaya what was upsetting me, and it was really hard because I adore her and I know she adores me, and it really was uncomfortable. I felt sick on the way to therapy. And why did I do it? I did it because I knew I had to. I knew I owed not only myself to go there, but Jaya, And there was a kind of joint responsibility there, in the sense that she'd obviously reflected and she sort of had things to say as well. Had I not have gone to that session, had I have not pushed through the fear, the anxiety, and the risk, I guess, yeah, it was a risk, because I could have left feeling like shit again. But I did it, and sorry, I did it, and I had to do it. And it was something I'm really glad that I did. And why did it push my limits? It pushed my limits because it meant taking a risk. It meant taking an emotional risk. And when I feel vulnerable, which I have done over the past few weeks, my instinct is to protect myself, which of course I'm kind of blessed for. I'm glad I have that instinct. And I think what's important when it comes to challenging ourselves is picking the right things, basically. And that instinct is there to protect you, and certainly if we've been abused or what have you, you know, that instinct is maybe hypervigilance, and it becomes hard sometimes to know what to push through. And I just want to give an example now before I close up this video. I'm just, you know, I did a piece of writing the other day, and I was thinking about recovery and why being well is worth it and stuff. And 18 months into my recovery, I went travelling. That was sort of a push for me to get my weight up, something to look forward to. And I went around South Africa, and I did the highest bungee jump in the world. And at first I was kind of like adrenaline pumped and kind of like yeah. And they do the heaviest and the lightest, and you know, at that point I was the lightest, so it meant I was last. So I saw everyone else going, and I kind of got to the edge, and I was like, do you know what, don't need this in my life. And that's basically what I said. I've got it on video. I was like, don't need this in my life, and tried to back away. And they said, no, you've come here, Rach, you know, this is what you want to do. And looking over that edge of that bridge, and I did it. I jumped. And I tell you something now, right? I stood there and I thought, if I can recover the way I've recovered, overcome the mess of mental health craziness that I've existed in, if I can do that, I can fucking do this. And what was quite interesting for me, and what happens now in recovery, whenever I think I can't do this, I'm like, Rach, you did the biggest bungee jump in the world. You can do this. And there's something in that, because for me, I knew I was safe. I wasn't going to die doing the bungee jump. They wouldn't allow people to do it if it killed people, okay? So I knew I was safe. I was just scared, okay? And I kind of can see that in recovery. I know I'm going to be okay, but I'm scared. And I know that that's what a lot of people experience. And what I'm trying to say to you here is that if you know you're going to be okay, even if you don't quite believe that, but you're like, look, my life isn't going to be at risk by eating a piece of toast. My life's going to be more at risk if I don't eat a piece of toast. You know you're going to be okay, and you are going to be okay. You are. Recovery doesn't kill us. It hurts. It fucking hurts. And it's painful and it's difficult. But it doesn't kill us. An eating disorder will. Okay, guys, and I'm going to move on to my next video now. Okay, bye, Z.